Welcome to this Vere Absolutum video about the truth of the law of attraction. As you might have guessed, today we're looking at the law of attraction and how this relates to the Vere Absolutum, or the absolute truth. Since Rhonda Byrne's book The Secret was released, the law of attraction has become one of the most widely known elements of metaphysical or spiritual thought. Of course, there was nothing new in The Secret. The law of attraction and its principles have been written about extensively by a huge number of people throughout history, and if you've ever practiced any kind of magic, you'll know that the law of attraction plays a part. Don't get me wrong, I'm not being negative about The Secret. I think it's a fantastic book, and it's allowed a huge number of people to take the first step into a more metaphysical or mystical view of existence, which can only be a good thing. However, it is just a stepping stone, a launchpad from which one can begin a journey of discovery. It works. Anyone who has spent any serious amount of time practicing its methods will attest to that. But for those of us who want to take the next step, discover why it works, how it works, or how to build upon its methods to make them more powerful, a deeper understanding is needed. And if you're a magical practitioner and want to know how to incorporate the law of attraction into your workings, we'll cover that too. The hows and whys of how the law of attraction work can basically be broken down into two categories of understanding, the scientific and the mystical. We'll start with the scientific. There are two scientific explanations as to why the law of attraction work. The first is psychological. It's basically an exaggeration of the placebo effect. If you believe that something will work, then it will, because you will subconsciously behave in ways which will cause the desired effect to come about. While we could go into the realms of how psychology is simply the study of the way in which our minds interact with the universe, that's a topic for another video. The second scientific explanation for the law of attraction, and more importantly, why it works, is found in theoretical physics. M-theory, the only practical unifying principle for string theory, tells us that it is a mathematical certainty that there must be 11 separate realities or dimensions. So we don't get too heavy on this subject, we'll just stick with the most relevant part of this. Essentially, M-theory states that the only way that the universe can exist in a state of infinity is for every single eventuality to be played out and exist at the same time, in the same place, and also in every other time and space in existence. Don't worry if that seems like a lot to grasp, it is. But what we can take from that is this. There is a reality which exists for every possible eventuality in the universe, from realities where you're doing exactly what you're doing now but with a pink cowboy hat on, to realities where gravity causes things to go up and elephants are the dominant intelligent species on Earth. This is basically the root of the phrase, anything is possible. In fact, not only is anything possible, but everything must be possible. When we apply this basic tenet of physics to the law of attraction, we can see that the law of attraction doesn't so much attract things to us, but rather attracts our consciousness into a reality which matches with our own thought vibration. Now, before you ask how you know if you're in a reality in which the law of attraction applies, the answer is yes and no. You're in both. You have to be. But before my head explodes from all of that, suffice to say that all the evidence we have points to the fact that we exist within a reality in which you can apply the law of attraction to your own personal advantage. So now to the really interesting bit, the mystical understanding of the law of attraction. For thousands of years, human beings have practiced magic as a means of effecting change in the physical plane. Huge numbers of incomprehensibly complex systems exist to ensure that the desires of the practitioner are manifested. But even people who don't practice magic as part of a formal or informal system use magic all the time without realizing it. Whether or not you are aware of the effect that your thoughts or actions are having on the world around you doesn't in any way stop them from having precisely the same effect. So where does the law of attraction fit into the Vere Absolutum? Well, firstly, it's definitely worth noting that by far its most important use is in colour magic. To try to use the law of attraction as a defined tool in high magic would be at best pretty misguided and at worst downright dangerous. Knowing as we do that colour magic is based on the principles of energy transfer, it's actually pretty easy to see how the law of attraction relates to it. If like attracts like, then it's obvious that by intentionally drawing in a particular type of energy, we automatically attract more of it. And if we deliberately emit particular energies, we attract more of those energies to us. If this is starting to sound a bit like the Wiccan concept of karma, it's because it is the Wiccan concept of karma. But why would this all happen? Why does like attract like? If we think of our bodies as a vessel for colour energies, we could visualise it like this. Obviously there are many different types of energy, but let's keep it simple and pretend that there are only two, red and blue. So imagine that we all start off with exactly equal amounts of red and blue energy in us. This isn't true, of course, as anyone who has read the Vere Absolutum will know, but again, let's keep it simple. So here we have the human body with an exactly equal amount of red and blue in it, and there's an entrance and an exit. Now, if we choose to expel some of our red energy out, it will leave our vessel and enter the world around us. As this happens, more red energy rushes in to fill the gap that we've created. If we were unthinking beings, this is exactly what would happen to us all the time, except that if we didn't think, the red and blue energy would leave and enter us in exactly the same rate. So it would look like this. But we are thinking, and that's where it starts to get interesting. It is almost impossible to emit one kind of energy without others sneaking out in the process. So if we deliberately send out red energy, a little bit of blue energy will slip out at the same time. So what, you might think? Won't the same proportion of red and blue energy enter into us to replace it? The answer is no. Because we are not 100% physical beings, we don't interact with the physical energies in quite the same way as everything else. Basically, because we have souls, there is an extra player in our vessel, and our soul exerts its own influence on which energies enter us and leave us. So while in a state of 100% physical existence, the energy flow would look like this, what actually happens is that our souls interfere. Let's say we have a soul that likes us to have red energy. So we send out red energy on purpose and accidentally leak a little bit of blue energy at the same time. The void needs to be filled, but our soul acts as an attractant in the same way that we do. So with our red soul attracting a bit of extra red energy, we start to fill up with more red energy than blue. So how does this look in reality? Well, obviously there are 11 colours within the physical plane, and so there are 11 separate energies which flow in and out of us at all times. Now in terms of colour magic, we know that each of the colours has a dark energy and a light energy. Depending on our soul's disposition towards either the darkness or the light, it will pull in an amount of dark or light colour energy depending on its own power. Of course, our magical intentions tend to be in line with our soul's disposition towards the darkness or the light. So if we intentionally do magic which involves sending out lighter colour energies, we will end up with more lighter energies in us. And the opposite is true if we intentionally emit darker energies. But what about when we choose to engage in acts which emit energies that aren't in line with our soul's disposition? Well, the soul still has its effect, so it lessens the amount of the opposing energy which enters, but it is not possible to emit a majority of darker colour energies and absorb a majority of lighter colour energies. So the bottom line is, like attracts like. While colour magic has no effect on our soul's disposition, it clearly has a massive effect on our physical forms and therefore our lives. So now you know how the law of attraction relates to the Vere Absolutum and life in the physical plane. If you found this video interesting, please click the like button below and subscribe for more of our videos. And of course do visit our website where you can find out more information and buy the Vere Absolutum book to discover the truth of existence, life, magic, spiritualism and the occult. Thanks for watching.